Hello, Algebra 1 Semester 2 Final Review students. Welcome back to problem 10. Today we're focusing on another problem from lesson 6.9. We did a bunch of word problems here. So let's look into it. We have a shipping company and it's offering starting employees a salary of $30,000 per year. I think that's honestly pretty low these days, pretty hard to live off of. However, it's a good salary. It's better than zero. Employees receive a 3% pay increase each year they're with the company. Now that's pretty cool. Which function represents an employee's salary after T years of work? Okay. Anytime we see percentages, percentages are going to increase exponentially. It's 3% of 3% of 3% of 3%. So it takes into account the raises from the previous years. And anytime you're doing something over and over again, with multiplication, it's got to be exponential. So the way we set this up is we have our initial value, and we've seen that written as a before, times 1 plus minus r to, in this case, we'll use t to the t power. So we should probably break this down. The initial value, I think, makes a bunch of sense. It means start at $30,000, right? But then this 1 plus minus r thing, what this is telling us is that if this was just a 1 right here, then what would happen is every year you wouldn't get a raise, but you wouldn't lose money. You would keep $30,000 times 1, and anything times 1 is itself. Another way to think about that, I'm just going to write think off to one side, is every year you have $30,000 and you get 100% of that $30,000. But we don't want just 100% of $30,000. We want more than $30,000 for our salary each year. Our salary is going up. So what ends up happening is you need to take that $30,000 and you need to combine it with 100% and the 3% pay increase. And so we're going to take the 100%, so all of our money, and then we're going to get 3% more. And so, if we clean this up a little bit, we end up with 30,000 and 103%. Now, technically, that pretty much is our final equation, but you might notice that there is no 103 up here, and that's because in math it's been frowned upon to substitute in percentages, and so they're going to want you to change that to a decimal. Now, I almost guarantee your calculator has a percentage button, so you could type 103% into your calculator, and it will do what we're about to do, which is move the decimal over 2 places, 1.03. And so, our equation here should be $30,000 is our starting point, and every year we are going to multiply by 1.03. How many times are we going to multiply by 1.03? Well, it depends on the number of years, the time you've been with the company. If you've been there 5 years, you do 1.03 times 30,000 5 times. So that gives you 5 3% pay raises. By the way, 5 3% pay raises is not a 15% raise. That's not the way percentages work. So here's our answer, and sometimes we go a little bit further with these, and in this case I'm going to do that as well, because let's say that you were talking about, owning a car. And they said the car was initially $30,000, so same thing, and I'll just give you a little side note here. The car was initially $30,000, but then the car loses value at 3% every year. And that's very low. Cars lose value at a higher percentage than that. But if you lose value at 3% every year, you'd do the same thing. You would start at 1, but then you're going to take away that 3% every time. And so our final equation then would end up being 0.97 to the t power. If you are increasing value, it's slightly over 1. Decreasing value, it's slightly less than 1. And just because this problem talks about an increase doesn't mean your final can't talk about a decrease. So stay on those toes, keep prepping for your final.